Back at UNSW campus, this time if anyone convinces me they're boring, they win all the money I have on me. This is the interesting project.
My name's
Okay.
Meha Singh. Your name?
Chantel.
Shantel.
Yeah.
Shantel, I caught you having lunch. What were you having?
I was having sushi.
Sushi.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food is probably like Asian food.
Asian food?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything specific?
Um, Probably Chinese food, actually. Yeah.
What's your last name?
Bright?
Okay, no. I thought you looked like a Chantel that I knew
Oh,
from
okay.
primary school,
That
and
likes
the same
Chinese
name. I was
food?
no, it was just like you
okay.
looked like her, and you had the same name.
Oh,
Like,
I
is
see.
this? Wait a second. This is not so weird.
What's her last name?
Singh.
Oh, okay. No.
No. Okay.
Is she Indian?
No, she's Filipino.
Oh, I'm Filipino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. I was like,
Oh my god.
that would have been weird. Okay, that out of the way.
My alter ego.
Were your parents did they immigrate here?
My mum did.
Mhm.
Yeah, from the Philippines. And my dad, he's actually from Queensland. So
Is he Filipino as well?
no, he's white.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Okay, well, here's something that I'm curious to know about. Growing up with parents from different cultures, right? Have you ever felt kind of out of place in a sense, like you don't know where you belong?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think like there was just a lot of instances in my life where people would be like, "Oh, where are you from?" Or like, "What are you really?" When I say something like, "Oh, I'm Australian," and they'd be like, "Oh, well, actually, you don't look fully Australian." You know what I mean? So yeah, it was weird, and people would be like, "Do you feel more Filipino or Australian?" And I kind of felt like I always had to be one thing. You know, I couldn't be both. So yeah, there was always that struggle with like an identity.
Is that something you've sort of come to peace with or like figured out? Got a resolution to that yet?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've just come to the conclusion that it doesn't really matter where you are as long as you're a good person. And like, I just say I'm Australian now because I was born here and I was raised
Yeah.
up here, so that's like the basic answer.
Mhm.
But if you want to know my bloodline, that's a different story. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to come next? No, I'm all good. All right, just bomb my video and just walk off. Good job. All right. Okay, so what are you studying here?
Study social work.
Social work.
Yeah.
More. What are you trying to get into?
Well, I want to work with the youth. So like well, because I'm Christian, like I chose social work because I wanted to learn how to work with people better and help them out in like a practical way. And because I grew up in a pretty like kind of a bad area, I saw a lot of kids and like teenagers get into a lot of drugs and alcohol and like teenage pregnancy, for example, and it gave me like this passion to help out the youth. So that's like my aim.
What area did you grow up in?
It's called Logan, Queensland.
Oh, okay,
yeah, so it's not even
Queensland,
here.
right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
How did you? Well, when you're surrounded by such, poor external factors, how did you try and like shield yourself to not go down that path as well?
I think I'm gonna have to give credit to like I guess my mom, because my mom she raised me by herself. My dad wasn't around growing up, and she's a very devout Catholic with like Catholic views, and she was always telling me don't do drugs, don't do this, don't do that, and she'd kind of tell me stories of people who did go down that way and like how they turned out. And I don't know, I think it spooked me as a kid. I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just saw a lot of my own friends go down those paths, and it didn't turn out well for them. So yeah.
When did your parents split up?
When I was 5. Yeah.
So young enough to remember.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
How do you feel like that affected you?
I think it affected me in a lot of ways that I didn't even come to terms with until years later. Like, for example, because my dad wasn't around, like, every year when there was, like, a Father's Day or, like a daughter and dad dance or something, like, I would always cry.
Yeah.
And always be, like, I'd feel so excluded at school, or, like, at those events, because it's like, oh, my dad's not here, what do I do? Just, like, dance with myself, I don't know, like, it was weird. And I didn't know that my parents actually separated. They didn't tell me until years later. So I thought my dad was just working overseas my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah, so they kind of lied to me. So,
Yeah.
so like, I'd just be like, oh, my dad's just working. He can't work because he can't find a job here or something. Like, that's just what I tell people. So yeah, it was really weird. And we wouldn't really talk either. So I don't know, it just, yeah. And then I'd have a lot of family members, like my older cousins or my older brothers, trying to be like the dad figure in my life. So it's, yeah, just not, definitely not a nuclear family kind of vibe. Yeah.
Why did they lie?
I think it's because I was pretty young at the time. They probably thought, oh, this is better for her. Like, she can handle this lie rather than the truth. Yeah.
Do you feel like that was the right choice? Or would you have preferred to have known?
I think I would have preferred to know. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I don't think you should tell your kid, like, oh, me and your dad are separating because of this and that. But it's like, you could, I don't know, tell your kid in a very, like, soft, gentle way, like, in a way that they'll understand, like, oh, me and your dad don't like each other anymore. It's not because of you or your brother, whatever, like, something like that. I don't know. It's like, we can't be together anymore. But it's okay. You can still talk to him. Because I was still able to talk to my dad, thankfully. Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty pissed when I found out. Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch with him?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Yeah, we're good now. Yeah, because when I found out, I ignored him for 2 years straight, actually.
When you found out?
Yeah.
Okay, alright.
Yeah, like the reason why,
Mhm.
like, he wasn't really in my life. Because I kind of,
Did you feel like it was his fault, that's why?
yeah, well, to get real, the reason why my parents split is because my dad had an affair on my mom. But growing up, I was idolizing my dad to the point where, like, he was my superhero, and everything was mom's fault. But actually, she was taking kind of like the burden of raising me and my brother, and my dad, like, you know, he didn't really have to be there, and he was the one that, like, caused the split. So it was pretty sad when I found out. Like, I felt a lot of guilt and shame for, like, kind of blaming it on my mom. Like, I'd grow up having arguments with her a lot of the time, being like, why is dad not home? Can't you find a job here? Blah, blah, blah. And she'd never tell me. Because she was also kind of, out of her good heart, like, trying to protect my dad as well. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
so it was, yeah, very complicated.
You ignored him for 2 years, and then, like, what was your reason for, like, getting back in touch after that?
I think my belief system changed. Like, during those 2 years, I think I was also trying to just process it on my own. Like, I didn't want to talk to him because there was just a lot of lying over, like, a span of years, like 10 years, basically, because I found out when I was 15. But during that time, I was like, okay, I'm just going to cut out whoever's, like, causing me stress in life, like, you know, or people that I don't think I should invest my time and energy to, whether it's my own dad. You know, I was very cynical, but then, yeah, I think once I became a Christian, I started, like, reevaluating my actions and the way I perceived people, and then I just made a decision to forgive my dad and let it go and be like, you know what, people make mistakes. Like, we're all human. Even if I don't agree with what he's done, and I'm still, you know, hurt, like, he's still my dad. So that's pretty much it.
So you weren't Christian from the very beginning? You turned Christian?
Yeah, like, I believed in God my whole life. During high school, not really. I had a lot of questions. And then I kind of, I got really into it after I graduated high school. And then, yeah, I became Christian.
I feel like that's the right way. If you're going to become religious, it needs to be you discover it yourself rather than it be forced on you, like a lot of parents or whatever they do. So what were the reasons that got you into Christianity?
Yeah, I think definitely my upbringing. Like, I'd always go to Christian schools.
Okay, right.
I grew up going to church, like, not kind of forced to at the start, but then, like, one Sunday I went up to my mom. I was like, Mom, I hate waking up early. I don't even like church. Can we stop going? And then she's like, yeah, sure. I feel the same. So she wasn't really that religious either, which I'm kind of grateful for. But yeah, I think it was just very open-minded in my family. Like, my dad didn't even believe in God. Like, my mom did. So there was always both sides to it. And yeah, it wasn't like what you said. It wasn't really forced down my throat. It was kind of just like around me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I want to end on one final idea. Do you feel like growing up with split parents? Because I've talked to someone else who grew up with split parents, and they said the silver lining was it gave them a lot of independence. They're confronted with such serious issues at such a young age, and they've already got to cope with that, right? Do you feel like you've learnt something from this experience, or is there something you could share from that?
Yeah, I think I've learnt independence in a way. But I think the main thing was just like seeing how strong my mom was from that time, because she was basically a single mom raising 2 kids, and it kind of showed me that, like, you don't have to rely on other people, like, you're strong enough on your own, kind of thing. But yeah, and at the same time with my dad, like, you don't have to hold on to grudges. You can always forgive someone, no matter how badly they messed up. So, actually, I think that's a bigger thing. Just, like, forgiveness. Yeah.
Forgiveness.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Shantel, no money for you because that was a really interesting story.
Thank you.
How's saying your name?
Anish.
Anish. As I was talking to you before, you said you're a first year.
Yeah.
What are you studying?
Electrical engineering.
Electrical engineering. Okay. What got you into that? Well, let's start off with, do you enjoy what you've chosen?
I've only had one term yet. It's kind of stressful, but I think that's just uni, so maybe I'll adapt to it. But yeah, it was a bit fun, yeah.
Okay. And you said you're an international student?
Yeah.
Where are you from?
India.
India. And when did you come to Australia?
In Feb.
Feb. How's your experience been?
It's alright.
Just alright.
I don't know, I mean, I can't really say.
When I said, do you enjoy electrical engineering, it wasn't an immediate enthusiastic yes. It was a bit of a response.
Not really, because I've not really experienced it till now. Like, my main interest lies in physics. So, I just got into engineering thinking that since it's so close to physics, it has so many, like, opportunities for me in the future. So I just thought I'll do that. And, yeah, I think I'll start to like it more once I get more involved in it and learn more.
What do you like about physics so much?
I think it's great because it can help us answer so many big questions, and the physics is all around us, so you're just learning about yourself, learning about things around you, and I think that's kind of cool. Like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to learn more.
So, if you could, go into the field of physics, like what's your dream job if you could pick any job in the world?
I think maybe like something involving physics research.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I'm working on those big questions, and trying to find answers to them, because there can't really be a specific answer to most questions, but just having a shot at it, I guess, and trying to understand this.
You keep talking about these questions, right? I have no idea what these questions are. Can you elaborate on that? Give me some knowledge that you've thought about.
Well, they keep changing. So, you know how, I don't know, let's talk about being alive.
Okay.
So, what do you think it means to be alive? Some people think that being alive is to be able to talk, to be able to speak, to be able to reproduce, to be able to react. I don't know. You know what it means, right? That's something we think is to be awake, to be alive. But even machines can do that. Even like, are machines alive then? And like some people think maybe even they are, like considering artificial intelligence and stuff. Some people think to some extent machines are alive. So where do you draw the line, and what is the definition of a life? So, and a soul. I don't know, these are interesting questions, for example.
When you brought that topic up, that's confused me a little bit, because how's that related to physics? I thought that's more of a philosophical question.
So physics is philosophical.
I've always thought physics from high school, gravity and all that, vectors and stuff. That's what I've thought physics was.
Yeah, and many of the great physicists that have been in the world have been great philosophers too.
Okay. So is that the question you're working on, you're thinking about right now, or like the one you found most interesting?
I was thinking about it this morning.
Okay, and what kind of conclusion have you come to?
I think that no one is alive. There's no such thing as being alive. It's all just like chemical reactions happening in our brain, and it's just that our brain is programmed to do something, to pass these neuron connections, neuron synapses, and like create all these protocols to make us feel stuff. It's just chemicals, and there's no such thing as being alive. We're all just atoms bumping through the universe.
All right. Well, let me try and throw a curveball at you. Okay. If no one's alive, right, then how can you be charged for murder? You can't kill what's not alive.
Yeah. So I mean, okay.
So, do you have a rebuttal to that?
Yeah, you can just put that in when you're court, like when you're in court, just give this argument that no one's alive.
I'll keep that handy. All right. Anytime I commit a murder now, I'll just like, he wasn't alive. He wasn't alive. He was already dead.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll sing your name.
Zach.
Zach. Okay. Where are you off to today?
Ainsworth. Usual place to eat.
What are you gonna get for food?
I've got the GIG over there.
What's your favorite cuisine?
My favourite cuisine?
Yeah.
Really anything. I'm not picky, to be honest with you.
Not a picky person.
No.
Okay. Well. Okay. Well, why do you think some people are picky and some people aren't?
Why people picky or not? I don't know. I usually just eat what I'm given.
Yeah. Fair enough. What are you studying?
Studying?
Yeah.
Engineering. It's not really my favourite thing, but I get by with it.
Why'd you pick engineering then?
It seemed fun. I don't know.
Sounded fun.
Yeah.
What year are you in?
What year?
Yeah.
Third year? Yeah.
Third year. Well, you said it's not really a thing. Why is that?
Not really my thing. I'd say, just a lot of thinking. If you just not think, then that'd be nice.
Just to not think. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay then. Was it something that you went into wanting to do, or was it kind of like, oh, good money, that's all, I'll pick it?
I think money, yeah. Who doesn't like money?
That's true. But okay, if you could pick any job in the world, then what would your dream job be?
Professional sleeper.
Professional sleeper.
Yeah. Common answer on dating apps, but yeah.
You're on the dating apps, huh?
Nah, I've heard about them though.
No, you let that slip out. You're on the apps. What apps are you on?
You're making this hard.
What apps are you on, man?
Nah, just nice conversation. No, yeah. So all the dating apps.
All of them.
Not all the dating apps. No, I'm thinking about all the dating apps.
Okay.
You can use Instagram as a dating app, but that's not really a good idea. I know some people have done that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Are you in a relationship?
If I had to go down, it's complicated.
Currently, the situation's complicated.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you elaborate a bit on that?
Well, dating around, but I guess the modern dating world isn't really, as clear cut and dry as it used to be back in the days. Hear your parents talk about it like, oh, my day, approach. It's all complicated now. You got, well, it used to be, and stereotypically, say not the right thing, but men approach women, now women approach men. Seeing that with my mates, that kind of stuff, how they've gone into relationships. Now dating apps are now more popular, that kind of thing. There's stuff in between, so some people don't want to be, so you got asexuality, that kind of stuff. It's more complicated nowadays. That doesn't mean it's hard and you shouldn't try it.
Yeah. I want to go back to the point that you said modern dating is very complicated.
Yeah.
Right. What kind of complications have you faced?
I'd say complications in terms of, well, I think it's just the internet in general, but this kind of perceived outlook, mental health wise, a lot of people now have a lot of issues with that based off social media. It's more about presentation than anything. So although you would see, the dreamboat of the high school, captain of the football team, all that kind of stuff, now it's, you got hundreds of them. Now it's who can be the best one, who's got the best outlook, kind of thing, rather than what has this person got to offer. So you have this kind of trend, a lot of people, you got to go through your first breakup, you got to go through this, and it's all character development. I say screw character development. You don't need it.
Okay.
It does develop you as a person. It's good to hurt a little bit. Don't run away from rejection. Go towards it. Don't run away from pain. You learn something from it. So I think the modern dating world has a lot more internal pain than used to be, I think.
I'm joined by
Tasnia.
Tasnia. You told me as I was getting you to come here, you're not a student here.
No.
You here for work or?
Yes, I'm a teacher here.
Oh, what do you teach?
Social impact, social entrepreneurship, and commerce.
What got you into that?
Starting my own social enterprise and not-for-profit, and then talking to people here, and then they offered me
Oh, what did you start?
what did I start? A not-for-profit foundation called a Rise Foundation, where I help survivors of domestic violence get into employment.
Okay, and what sort of got you into that field?
I've worked in government for numerous years, knowing where the funding was going in terms of social policy, and also doing my market research and seeing people that I know go through domestic violence and not really having any foot to go back on. They always just stayed in relationships or went back to perpetrators after crisis because of financial dependency. So to break that cycle, you need financial independence, and that was done through employment. So created a foundation for it.
Is domestic violence, how prevalent have you seen it to be?
Incredibly prevalent. We only started 2 years ago. We're helping over 100 women now, and I'm counting. It's just a hidden epidemic that occurs, probably in your neighborhood or within your family, and you just don't even realize.
Yeah, and you said that it's something that has impacted you kind of closely?
Knowing a family member go through it, yeah.
Right, yeah. Do you feel like you were in a position where... Okay, here's my question to that. So there's a prevalence of women that go through domestic violence, but why do they struggle to get help? Like a lot of the people say, the easy cop-out is just call the police or just...
Yeah, I
right.
think
But
a lot
why
of the
is it so
systems
difficult?
work against them. Crisis zones, crisis accommodation, or a lot of the first response experiences are very short term, and so there's not really a long-term sustainable road out there for women to leave. A lot of the financial dependency is there. A lot of it could be to do with cultural sensitivity, and thinking that this is something that I deserve or I need to be here because I have, or to do with children and a stigma around divorce, etc., etc. So I think those are the reasons why people don't leave.
What got you into teaching?
The opportunity it
The
came,
opportunity.
and then I
Has it
took
been
it on.
something that you've always been kind of interested in, or not really?
It's been in the back of my mind, thought about it, but then I also thought that you need a PhD to be a lecturer. And then once I was offered the opportunity, I realised that you didn't. And if you were in the education stream, and yeah, and since then I've really enjoyed teaching students and seeing them grow.
In your name?
Nice. I'm Yana.
Yana.
Yeah.
Okay. You came here before, but you couldn't come for an interview then. You were handing out some pamphlets. What was that?
Oh, it's for wellness. So like stress less week. So next week we got alpacas and dogs to like.
Oh, is this a society or
It's with ARC.
ARC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like UNSW. Like yeah.
Well, just on the topic of wellness, do you feel like mental health has been an issue which has maybe impacted you in the past?
Definitely.
In what way?
Oh well, you know, family stuff. Someone passing away affected my mental health. I was like, damn, I'm kind of sad. But then, you know, life goes on and change a few things, and then yeah, try to be more happy.
Was this long ago?
Yeah, a few years ago. Yeah.
What was your healing process? How'd you get through that?
Honestly, time. And well, in the beginning I did nothing, so I was just like, wallowing. But then uni, I was like, okay, fresh start, new friends, reinvent myself. Honestly, actually no, keeping busy. So then like my mind goes like, it doesn't go, you know? Yeah.
Do you feel like that's a healthy way to cope?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
My older sister should always send me like, oh yeah, you should read this book. Oh, you should do some meditation. Oh, she'll send me like little like things, and I'm like, okay, cool. I tried. Just I don't know.
If you could change the way you handled it, what would you change?
I don't know. I guess reaching out to more people. I don't know, because like I feel like my life is very unconventional.
What do you mean
So,
by
like, like you know, my family is a bit, yeah, like it's just like I live with my grandma right now, but like yeah, like dad died really early on. Don't really have much contact with my mom currently, and it's yeah, so it's like it would have been nice, I guess, because I was like in high school. It would be nice to like have more support around me.
Right.
But I think that would have helped me. Instead, it's just like, oh, I'm on my own. And it's hard to like, when you're like really sad and stuff, it's hard to like reach out to people or change things about yourself when you feel like you've got nothing to change for, you know? So, yeah.
So who was your parental guidance when you're growing up? Who raised you?
My grandma.
Your grandma? Yeah.
My grandpa too, but he passed away. And then my uncle, but he also passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Do you have any siblings?
I've got a twin.
A twin?
Yes, I do, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah.
I've heard a lot more interesting stuff than in this conversation. And how was that? That must have been such a strong bond you created with your twin. You're going through so much adversity together.
Actually, it kind of made us more apart.
Really? And
Yes.
how so?
We don't really talk about it with each other. We don't really... Yeah, we just... Stuff like that, we just never really speak to each other about.
Kind of like a out of sight, out of mind, like, oh,
Yes.
Right. That's
Yes.
a way to cope with it.
I guess, yeah. Like, we never say any, like, yeah, like, stuff like that ever to each other.
So, like, going through so much, right? And like you said, from a young age, is there it's hard to see one, but is there a silver lining to it? Like, have you learned something from this, or like, would you be able to share something to someone else from this experience?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it definitely shaped who I am today and what I want to be after uni as well.
Mm.
In the way that like, yeah, because I'm gonna be a teacher.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's okay. Like during that tough period, I was like, oh my god, life sucks. Math, oh my god, hated it. As in like, because wasn't motivated to do math. And then right now, and then math ended up being my worst subject in HSC, right? But then right now at uni, I'm doing math. I was like, I had a period where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna change myself. I'm gonna do something that, you know, I just didn't do well in high school. Instead, I'm gonna do that in uni. And the education part's like, oh, I want to help kids that are going through anything and be that support system for them. So like, in a way, I was like, oh yeah, like what I didn't have, like what I experienced, I'd never want another student to experience that ever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I want to become a teacher. That's why, yeah, it's like all that experience. Like,
I could definitely see you become like a school counsellor.
yeah,
Is that something maybe on the cards?
Definitely, but I don't know, I was just really confused at that time. I was like, oh yeah, teacher, I don't know. Because I feel like you reach more students that way. Because obviously that happened and school's like, oh yeah, meet the school counsellor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Had like 2 sessions, nothing really.
Oh, okay.
Like I didn't really, it just, I don't know, I just didn't feel that, you know, I feel like as a teacher you would actually interact with your students more and you know, obviously build that rapport with each other and yeah, because also like, in high school, my teachers sucked. Like they knew what was going on and they knew like coming from a student from an honor roll to like literally barely showing up for classes, doing really crap in exams, they just didn't care. They didn't reach out to me, they didn't care. I missed 2 weeks of school and then I had like an extension test and I was like, teacher, no idea. It's like, no worries. And that was it. So yeah, that experience drove me to do what I want to do.
I mean, do you have a support system now?
Kind of, I mean, got Shakira. And I feel like on my older sister a bit, as in like, but she's in London, so yeah. Yeah.
You've obviously gone through a lot when it comes to family dynamics. Has this changed you in a sense of, well, first of all, do you want to have a family of your own?
Oh yeah, definitely,
So has
yeah.
it changed, shaped of like what you kind of want, or like how you would parent maybe?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like, I guess I don't really blame my mom, but like, I guess circumstances, you know, so obviously I'll be like more, I guess, because my mom, she never showed up to any like, she never even read my reports in high school. Like, it was we were really independent ourselves. So it's like, oh yeah, like I'll definitely be more involved in my kid's life, I guess. Yeah.
Why do you feel like she was so absent?
Well, at the beginning, it was like she had to work a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, it's just, I guess we never, I don't know, family issues, family drama.
Do you potentially maybe want to reconnect in the future?
See, okay, oh my god, sounds horrible. But like recently, yeah, like something happened and then a couple months ago, and then she just stopped speaking to us and she hasn't spoken to us since. This is like the longest time that like we haven't spoken to each other. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't mind it because it's less stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes my mom stresses me out. So it's like, I feel bad feeling this way, but yeah. So it's like, I don't know, it's like, because again, I'm like, I don't really need her in my life. Like, you know, anything I want, you know, I pay for it myself. Anything else is like, yeah, so it's like, she doesn't really make an impact in my life right now, so it's like, you know, yeah.
Well, I don't want to end it.
Yeah, I know.
On this kind of note, right? So.
Damn, you have to bring up mental health. Ah.
I feel like, first of all, you're gonna be a great teacher. All right, because.
I hope.
No, you will.
I want my kids to love me.
Maybe. Okay, no, hold on. I need to. I'd say this is like the deepest interview
Yeah?
I've ever had. Like this is the toughest.
Yeah.
Trying to navigate.
I mean,
this one.
yeah, I mean, I can understand from your it's like, how do you even, yeah.
Because I don't know. I feel like because I don't want to be pushing too hard.
Oh, that's all right. I
Right.
don't really, it's, yeah.
I gotta find that balance. But
It doesn't bother me.
are you sure?
Oh, 100% doesn't bother me. It's like I'm already like, yeah. Doesn't bother you whatsoever.
Okay. Well then. So when did your dad pass away?
In primary school, I think. Like year 5?
And were you two really close? Or?
See, another family drama. Yeah, no. Because he lived in China, so we only like saw him like once a year, really, and he didn't really like us that much.
Okay.
No, as in like you know Asian parents, how like they want boys,
Yep.
and it's kind of funny because I've got 3 like including me, like 3 girls, like 3 sisters, right?
Yeah.
So technically I do have 2 half brothers, but I've never met them before. Yeah, so yeah, during that time it was actually kind of funny. You know, like China has a really strict 1-child policy.
Yes.
My dad has 5 kids.
So how's that?
Exactly. Well, my older sister was born in China. Me and my twin were born here, and then I'm pretty sure my half brothers, one of them were born in Hong Kong or something.
And you've never met them?
I think I saw a picture once as a kid, but yeah.
And what about your relationship with your grandfather?
Yeah, we're really close.
Because you mentioned there was one of the relatives that passed away that one really impacted you.
That was my uncle.
Your uncle.
Yeah,
Right.
because he was literally mum and dad. Like we went on holidays together, we lived together, did everything together really.
Yeah.
Like yeah, so and also like it was different as well because it was more dragged out, like because he had pancreatic cancer. We thought we got caught it early, then we didn't, and then also like you know like immigrant families, sometimes we had to like not all doctors' visits has interpreters, so then sometimes we'll miss school. Me and my twin will take turns, and we'll go to the hospital and we'll like interpret. And obviously towards the end, you know, it's always just bad news, so it's kind of like hard interpreting that, you know, being like, oh yeah, it's getting worse, or like towards the end, he was just like, oh yeah, tell the doctors like, don't resuscitate me, don't anything. If I just die, just let me die. So like having to like relay that to the doctor is kind of like,
Ugh,
yeah. So like I feel like that was more, yeah. Well, the other two, it's like. Actually, my grandfather had the exact same cancer, but I feel like because it's like so much older as well, kind of just accepted it more. Like my grandma as well, like we all just kind of accepted it, and like you know, and my dad, well, you know, he actually had cancer too. Yeah, so it's like, oh jeez. That's why I was like so disappointed at school. I was like, you know, I missed so many days of school. You know why? And you know, oh yeah, because Shakira, she actually emailed the deputy and be like, oh, I don't think Yana's doing that well, and they're like, oh no, she's fine. To have someone like reach out to a deputy and be like, oh, I don't think she's doing okay, and for them to just ignore it, it's just like, you know. And also like, I went to a school that wasn't very diverse either, so so it's like, oh yeah, because I got a friend, and honestly, not any friend anymore, but like, her mum also worked at the school, but like, any issue, special consideration, oh, how are you? Oh, you know, like, and she'll brag that to me, right? And I'll be like, no teacher ever wrote to me. No, even though like I'm going through such a hard time, I didn't get special consideration for my tests and stuff, even though I got really crap. Like, and it starts getting to me because it's like, oh, no one cares about me, right? So that's why I want to become a teacher. I'm like, I care for all my students equally. I want to help all of them equally. But yeah, I feel like I've grown so much from that, as in like it makes me to be a lot more empathetic, sympathetic to everyone around me and whatever situation they're in. Like no judgment whatsoever. And hopefully a bit more resilient too.
Yeah. Well, let's just finish it off on that one positive note.
Exactly.
Is there anything you want to share?
In general?
Or, yeah, just maybe a message you want to spread.
Yeah, just life sucks sometimes, but you know, there's always something positive to move forward to. I feel like, yeah.
Beautiful. We'll end it there, Yana. That was
Thank you.
that was a really good conversation.
Was it? I feel like,
that
oh my
was-
gosh.
That was fucking
That
good.
was